Collective. They thought you chased them, but you went ghost. You left without warning. No closure, no call, and now they're shook. High Priestess upright, I feel you trusted your intuition. You saw through their games and chose to keep your power instead of proving your worth. Your silence became your boundary. They thought you'd come back with questions, but you answered them with distance. Hermit reversed. I see they tried to isolate you first, withholding energy, pulling back to make you feel small, but Spirit is showing me you flipped the script. Now they're the one spiraling, searching for your energy in empty places. Six of Swords. You moved on without making noise, no dramatics, just peace. That was your closure. They expected a reaction. What they got was transformation. Say, my silence was my healing, if this was your story. Aries, they thought you chased them, but you went ghost. You left without warning, no closure, no call, and now they're shook. High Priestess upright, I feel you peeped the energy shift before they even said a word. They thought they could play hot and cold with someone as bold as you, but you trusted your gut and pulled back without a second guess. Your silence said everything. Hermit reversed. I see they thought you'd come crawling, but they underestimated how fast you bounced back. Spirit is showing me they're lost without your fire. Now they're rereading messages, stalking your page, pretending they don't miss you, but they do. Bad Six of Swords. You moved like a storm, quick and quiet, left all their manipulation behind and didn't even look back. You didn't ghost to be petty. You ghosted to protect your peace. Say, my silence was my healing, if this was your story. Taurus. They thought you chased them, but you went ghost. You left without warning, no closure, no call, and now they're shook. High Priestess upright, I feel you caught on to their inconsistency. You saw the patterns, the mixed signals, the way they wanted you to stay loyal while giving you less. So you stopped explaining yourself and let your silence speak. Hermit reversed. I see they tried to ice you out first, play distant, test your patience, but Spirit is showing me that backfired. Now they're sitting in the same silence they created and realizing you were the only one who brought warmth. Six of Swords. You didn't need a dramatic exit. You just stopped showing up. Stop texting first. Stop holding space for someone who couldn't hold you right. That's when they realized you weren't coming back. Say, my silence was my healing, if this was your story. Gemini, they thought you chased them, but you went ghost. You left without warning, no closure, no call, and now they're shook. High Priestess upright, I feel you stopped overthinking and started observing. Their energy didn't lie, and once you saw the truth, you stopped entertaining the confusion. You went silent, not out of spite, but because peace felt better than trying to make sense of their chaos. Hermit reversed. I see they thought you keep talking, keep explaining, keep checking in, but Spirit is showing me they didn't expect you to disappear. Now they're replaying every last conversation, trying to decode the moment you shifted. Six of Swords, you didn't chase, you chose clarity. You let the silence be the goodbye, and you've been lighter ever since. They thought the silence would break you, but it made you whole. Say, my silence was my healing, if this was your story. Cancer, they thought you chased them, but you went ghost. You left without warning, no closure, no call. And now they're shook. High Priestess upright, I feel you felt the shift in your spirit before they even said a word. They took your softness for granted, thought you'd always come back, but you listened to your intuition and chose yourself in silence. Hermit reversed. I see they tried to pull away to trigger you. They wanted you to beg to break the chase, but Spirit is showing me you vanished instead. Now they're stuck in their own empty echo, missing the love they thought they could control. Six of Swords. You walked away from the drama, from the guilt, from the weight of always being the one to fix things, and the peace you found unmatched. They lost you in the silence, and now that's all they hear. Say, my silence was my healing, if this was your story. Warning, no closure, no call, and now they're shook. High Priestess upright, I feel you saw straight through the performance, all talk, no action. They fed off your light until you stopped clapping. You didn't need to say a word. Your silence was louder than anything they ever said. Hermit reversed. I see they thought they could dim you, make you question your worth, but Spirit is showing me you disappeared with grace. And now they're scrambling to get your attention. Too late. The spotlight has moved and they're no longer part of the show. Six of Swords. You chose peace over pride. You didn't ghost to hurt them. You ghosted to heal you. And in doing so, you reminded them what it feels like to lose someone unforgettable. Say, my silence was my healing. If this was your story, you keep you guessing. But Spirit is showing me you disappeared mid-game and now they're stuck wondering how someone so devoted could vanish without a word. Six of Swords. You didn't announce your exit. You just healed privately, deliberately. They thought you'd over-explain. Instead, you gave them exactly what they gave you, distance. And now they can't stop replaying the moment you stopped responding. Say, my silence was my healing. If this was your story. Libra, they thought you chased them, but you went ghost. You left without warning, no closure, no call. And now they're shook. High Priestess upright. I feel you knew deep down this connection wasn't balanced. You gave more, held space, tried to keep the peace, but they mistook your grace for weakness until one day you stopped explaining and started protecting your energy. Hermit reversed. I see they pulled back to test your loyalty. Wanted to see if you'd fight for them, but Spirit is showing me that move cost them everything because once you detached, you didn't look back. Now they're left arguing with your silence. Six of Swords. You walked away without a scene. No dramatic goodbye, just quiet closure. You chose harmony within instead of chaos with them, and now they feel the weight of what they lost. Say, my silence was my healing. If this was your story, I see they tried to trigger a reaction, push your buttons, get you to explode. But Spirit is showing me you outgrew that version of yourself. You didn't give them drama. You gave them distance. And now they're haunted by the quiet you left behind. Six of Swords. You walked away without the need to be right. You didn't explain, didn't beg, didn't break. You just vanished. And now they're stuck with every unanswered question. That was your power move. Say, my silence was my healing. If this was your story. Sagittarius, they thought you chased them. Say, but you went ghost. You left without warning. No closure, no call, and now they're shook. High Priestess upright. I feel you sensed the limits before they showed themselves. They wanted your fire but couldn't handle your freedom. You read between the lines, and instead of explaining your worth, you fell back quietly and completely. Hermit reversed. I see they played distant, thinking it would make you chase. But Spirit is showing me that tactic doesn't work on someone who thrives alone. You didn't fold. You disappeared. And now they're realizing they just lost the realest one they had. Six of Swords. You moved on in your own rhythm. No announcement, no closure, just growth. They expected fireworks. What they got was silence. And now they're the one wondering what could have been. Say, my silence was my healing. If this was your story. Capricorn, they thought you chased them, but you went ghost. You left without warning, no closure, no call, and now they're shook. High Priestess upright. I feel you noticed the disrespect, the inconsistencies, the subtle jabs. But instead of calling it out, you observed, processed, and made your silent exit because you don't explain loyalty to someone who never understood it. Hermit reversed. I see they pulled back, hoping you'd come chasing. But Spirit is showing me you used the silence to rebuild yourself. And by the time they realized you were gone, you were already too far ahead to reach Six of Swords. You didn't ghost out of bitterness. You ghosted out of self-respect. You chose peace over patterns. And now they're finally feeling the weight of what it means to lose someone solid. Say, my silence was my healing. If this was your story. Aquarius, they thought you chased them, but you went ghost. You left without warning, no closure, no call, and now they're shook. High Priestess upright. I feel you clocked the emotional games early. The push and pull, the passive aggression. You watched it all, then disconnected, mentally first, then physically, because once you detach, it's permanent. Hermit reversed. I see they tried to provoke a reaction, expected you to prove your love, but Spirit is showing me they never knew how deep your silence could cut. Now they're stuck rereading your last words, trying to figure out when the cord was cut. Six of Swords. You ghosted with grace. You didn't need closure. You became your own. They thought the distance would make you cave, but you turned it into your healing. And now they're learning what it feels like to be ignored by someone irreplaceable. Say, my silence was my healing, if this was your story. Pisces, they thought you chased them, but you went ghost. You left without warning, no closure, no call, and now they're shook. High Priestess, upright, I feel you picked up on everything they tried to hide. The energy shifts, the emotional avoidance, you felt it in your spirit, and instead of begging for clarity, you gave yourself the answers in silence. Hermit reversed. I see they thought you drowned in your emotions, that you'd fold without their attention. But spirit is showing me you rose above it. You turned inward, and your quiet exit hit them harder than any confrontation ever could. Six of Swords, you didn't ghost to be cruel. You ghosted to find peace, and you did. They expected tears. Instead, they got transformation. Now they're left wondering while you're already somewhere lighter. Say, my silence was my healing, if this was your story.